men, no, but the women are the ones that are delusional.
There's regular men out there. There's regular men out there.
Chris Hemsworth.
There's regular men out there that will have you down.
Yeah, but can I just say, people are watching Tate, not understanding that Tate is part of that 1% of success women, and they think that they can demand the same thing. No, they can demand purity.
One second. Sorry. I understand the point you're all making, but let's understand something. To the sexual marketplace, females have always been, and still to a degree are, the gatekeepers. You can think about it in a very simplistic way. This is not the case, but let's simplify it for the sake of argument. Imagine men will run around and fuck anything, and women are the ones who say yes or no. You are the gatekeepers that have all the power. And this is what's actually truly interesting about the sexual marketplace, because whenever women go, there's not enough good men, then why are you fucking, of course, why would they be good if you don't make them be good? You're fucking losers.
That's a good point.
So women, so you're talking about, I'm saying that, a man at a certain level can't do certain things, If you were with Joe Schmo and he wasn't treating you the way you believe Joe Schmo should treat you, then why are you with him?
Leave. Sis, leave.
Like women have the gatekeeping. So if you get Joe Schmo and he treats you like you're his queen and treats you perfect, good. If you get a fucking guy at the absolute upper echelons of value and you still aren't happy with what he's giving you, then leave. Women are the gatekeepers. You women actually have all of the power. This is what's beautiful about the whole thing. Yeah. Women are constantly complaining. You have all the power. You're the ones who get to choose. Do you know who you should be mad at for all this shit? I'll tell you who you should be mad at. Do you know who threw away all the female power in the sexual marketplace? Promiscuous females. Because now you got chicks who will bang anybody without trying. So why should a dude get up and try?
No,
do you have any idea how hard it is to actually be, let me make this clear.
Go on, sir.
Do you have any idea how hard it is to actually be, no bullshit, a man? And I say this and women go, oh yeah, dude, as soon as most women encounter any kind of problem, the first thing they do is turn to a man. Their man, their dad, the mechanic, the police, a man. If you actually put a woman in front of a problem and go, no men, they're like, oh, whoa, fuck. It's a mental breakdown. Men, day after day, especially if you're a high-level man, let me make it something clear from my life. I'll talk from personal experience. I'm not just looking after me. I'm not just looking after my chick. I'm the guy in about 300 people's phone books that they call when anything big goes wrong. You get arrested in Russia, you need extraction from Ukraine, you need $1 million, whatever it is, Kazakhstan, abduction, they call me. I'm the first phone call. I'm fixing 400 different lives. I'm a problem solver. Chicks can't fix fucking any of this shit, right? This is how hard it is to be a man. And it's amazing because society expects it of you, but so do women. If you had a man, be honest, you had a man and you went to your man and said, oh, I've got this problem. I can't fix this. It's broken. The car tire's broken. And he went, I don't know. You would dry up. You'd be like, well, what the fucking point are you? That's the truth. You could sit here and go, oh, we'd call a mechanic. No, you wouldn't. You'd look at your man and go, what do you mean you can't fix it?
I'll do it myself, waste man.
And this is what she's saying about your man will get up and go, and you know what's beautiful about masculinity? A bunch of times a man will go up and he doesn't have a clue how to fix it himself. Mm-hmm. But he'll go, don't worry, baby, okay. And he'll stand up with no money and no clue. And he'll go out there and fucking try and find a way because as a man, you need to be useful. It is so difficult to be a man. You have no idea the amount of pressure that we're under from society and from the women we even want to associate with. On a whole, it's difficult. So you have to keep all these things in mind. It's hard.
But can I ask you a question? You see what you just said about, the top G, that if they had money, you can fly planes and fly that. Drop it down to if you were earning, say, $50,000 a year.
Yep.
Couldn't you be that same person amongst your peers?
100% you could.
That's what I'm trying to say.
100% you could. And also you have to...
money doesn't make you a top G.
No, money is an amplifier. So that's the first thing about money. Money amplifies. Men can make money. Money does not make men. If you're a dork and you get rich, you're a rich dork. If you're a G and you get rich, you're a top G. Right? So that's the first thing about money. And I agree with you. But traditionally... And this is the baseline. And once again, when I say these things, I'm not looking to be attacked for being misogynist. I'm just commenting on how I view the world and how I see things. Traditionally, a man primarily gives his attention to a female to get sex, and she gives him sex back to get the attention. That's the swap, right? So if I'm a dude and I want sex from a girl, I give her attention, I talk to her, I hang out with her, I spend time with her, eventually I get the sex. That's how it works. But the higher value you are as a man, the more valuable your attention is, the more valuable your time is, the less you have to give. It's like potency, right? So I can give 5 minutes to a chick, And that's worth 2 weeks of some other dude's time. But that's the reality. So where you are on the scale is just basically how much of your time you have to give. Now, you can still give all your time to a woman, treat her like a queen, be respected by your peers. She can be happy with you. I'm not saying she will be in fact, I'll argue she'll be happier with that man than she'll be with a fucking guy like me. I'm not even out here saying I'll make chicks happy. I'm not even saying that. I'm saying that she'll get the amount of time that she's going to want from that man. The amount of attention is linked to his status. But at a true high-level status of man, it's 2 DMs. Boom, boom. 10 seconds. 10 seconds. 10 seconds, done.
This kind of leads into my next question. Do women prefer to be monogamous with a low-value man or share a high-value man?
Well, look at society, and you tell me.
Monogamous.
Ask me.
Wait, so let's ask the single ladies. What would you prefer?
I would prefer someone who's monogamous. I left a situation where I got the Bentley, I had all that, I had the kids, I had that. That was great. I want a companion. I want real love. And to me, what monogamy means to me is someone who's committed to themselves. Mm-hmm. That's like, the answer is within you. And to be honest, I feel like, again, like the sex has been lost in translation and what it means. I don't care, man or female. It's been lost as it's so sacred. So for me, I have kind of taken those blinders off where I'm like, okay, he has to be here. I'm okay with dating the trainer in Austin, Texas. That's just where I'm at. Like, I don't need a certain thing because I know what I'm wanting. Mm-hmm. Most guys in that percentage are not going to give me. So I would rather have a monogamous man than someone who can do whatever.
So you think the personal trainer is going to be monogamous? They're like known for cheating, no?
Well, I mean, here's my thing. Like, I get it. Like, I don't generalize people because I'm one of the most misunderstood people online as well. Mm-hmm. And I feel like there's a lot more to me, and I don't like to just put everyone in a box. I'd like to get to know people. So no, I'm not going to just say, oh, well, of course he's going to cheat on me. Like, no.
Okay. Would you take a guy that makes $35,000 a year and had a dad bod? Monogamous?
Had a dad bod?
Yeah, dad bod.
I feel like for me, I would want someone who...
Sorry, go ahead.
Okay.
Sorry.
I pour into myself, mm-hmm. and I'm accountable for my shit. I'm aware of what I got going on. I'm not going to have a mom bod. I'm in the gym. I had a baby a year and a half ago. Mm-hmm. I'm in the gym 4 to 5 times a week. Mm-hmm. So I would want someone who can match at least the work ethic. Now, when it comes to money... I know for me, I want to be able to, I do not want to rely on a man. I have literally done that before. Mm-hmm. It didn't pan out in my favor, okay? Because what happens is you get the rug ripped from under you, and then now you fucking get out, bitch, give me the motherfucking keys. It isn't that. Mm-hmm. So for me, the lifestyle I want, I am responsible for. Mm-hmm. So I don't look for a man to make X amount of dollars because anything that I want, I'm going to get myself.
Well, because in my head, I feel like a guy's just as likely to cheat if he's in the top 20% of like looks. Just as likely as money. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just doesn't.
Let me ask a quick question, just so I can clarify something, because I understand your points. You're saying you want a partner, a life partner. Are you sure? And I'm not accusing. I'm genuinely asking. Are you sure you're not confusing the amount of time the man spends with you with his monogamy? Because they're different things. Because what happens a lot of the time, if a man's out here chasing chicks, he's barely home. Mm-hmm. But imagine you had a man who was home 7 nights a week. He was always home. I'm talking about like an hour, like during his work lunch. You don't even notice. Then would you even give a shit about monogamy if you had all of his time effectively? Would you really care?
I still would care because I feel like that's still just an hour a day, and it's not really quality time. I feel I really have been in so many different situations. Again, the trainer in Austin to the NBA player baby daddy. Like I have seen all of that stuff, and it's just my personal experience and perspective to where I want someone that sees the value in the Grand Canyon. I want somebody who...
I understand. Okay, like, so that's a good point, and so I'll just ask the first question. I'm going to ask the second question. The realization you've come to is an interesting one. It is something that happens, especially to females as they mature. Don't you think it's strange, or why do you think that 0 women on Earth choose those kind of men who they perhaps have slightly lower status, but are more likely to be loyal to them and be monogamous, etc. In the modern world, because like I said, the world's changed. Why do you think 0 women choose them when they're at the peak of their choices? So when a woman is 19 and she can go anywhere she wants, every man wants her, she can go on any yacht in Miami, she can get flown out to Dubai, when she has all the choices in the world, why is she completely uninterested in those kind of men? And then when she gets to a certain age of maturity and there's a whole new generation of girls who have all the choices, then they sit there and go, you know what? I deserve monogamy and and they all of a sudden want to grow up and mature. Why does no woman decide that when she actually is at her most valuable?
I feel like like I said, I don't like to speak for all women. I just speak for myself. But I know for me that I was looking for a man for a lifestyle, something that I was not able to do individually by myself. So that's why it's like, well, yeah, I want to be able to do this, do that. I want to go for the football player that was just on GQ. And in reality, now I realize, well, okay, there's a lot that comes with that. I can make my own money. I don't necessarily need that type of guy for the happiness that I'm looking for. Again, seeing value in the Grand Canyon is a lot different than like, okay, here's money for this, here's allowance for that.
And
here's an hour of my time.
As you asking why a man that is 20, 21, 23 is not a top G like a 30, 40-year-old man.
No, the point,
your age actually dictates your sort of maturity to a large extent.
Well, I'm arguing the point. The point I'm trying to make is that what I actually think happens, especially in the modern world, because the modern world's all fucked up and nothing's the way it's supposed to be. The traditional life path of a female is she's 17, she's 18, she's 19, and her value is massively inflated. And I don't blame her. Of course it's massively inflated. Imagine being 19 years old, have achieved exactly fucking zero in your life, knowing nothing. You put makeup on, and sports stars, billionaires, actors, the most important famous people on the planet, the richest men on the planet are begging for your attention. The ego you're going to develop, let's all be honest, right? The ego you're going to develop is going to be mon-you-fucking-mental. I'm special, I'm so gorgeous, all this bullshit, right? And then what happens as they grow older, as new generations come along, because the truth is most women are at their peak attraction, let's say in their early 20s. As they grow older, what women become is far more fearful of competition. This is why you'll see a woman who's a bit older go, oh, I really want monogamy. What she's scared of is her dude getting a 21-year-old. That's what she's fucking scared of. She may not know it. She may not say it. But basically, that's what the truth is, because she knows a 21-year-old is going to be more desirable, higher status, more fertile. That's what she's scared of.
Cheating is bad when you're 30 or 20, sir.
So no, but it's not about that. I'm telling you the shift in the female mentality, because when a female is 20, she doesn't give a fuck about any of this. She doesn't want to find a nice man. Now she's trying to, like you're saying, chasing a lifestyle, chasing Mr. Promiscuous, chasing Mr. Famous. Doesn't give a shit until she starts getting scared. Oh, shit. Oh, my age begins with 3 now. And then they change, their mentality changes. It's a fear element. That's the reality. And it's a biological fear element. I'll give you an example of it. You know what's amazing about humans? We are still very primal. When men like these two and me, when we walk through the mall, people just move. It's like you can sense when the big animals turn up, right? It's something amazing about humans. If you have a very attractive 45-year-old woman, she's gorgeous, but a gorgeous 19-year-old walks in, look at that 45-year-old woman's face. She's furious. She fucking hates her. She just doesn't like her for no reason. Yeah. Because women understand, unfortunately, but your age is a massive indicator in your value. In an inverse way to men, men are more valuable as we get older. Every woman knows that. Every woman will sit here and go, yeah, I want a man who's older than me. Of course. But if I say it the other way around, I'm misogynistic. It's just the reality of the world. So then we have to go into the other point. The point is this. When you were at your peak value, you had zero interest in monogamy. But then you find a man who's 35 at his peak value. He's finally struggled and worked, because when he was 19, no girl spoke to him. When he was 23, he was broke. When he was 24, he had no life experience. When he was 25, he couldn't fuck. When he was 20, whatever. He finally gets to the point where he's now at his peak value. Him at 35 is you when you were 19. And then you're sitting there saying to him, no, you should be monogamous. It's like, well, you fucking weren't. You did whatever you wanted in your peak. Now I'm finally got there. And I had to work for my shit. God gave you. God and L'Oreal gave you. I had to fucking struggle. I had to go through hell to get on this yacht. You got on the yacht with an Instagram DM. I had to buy it. And now you're telling me I need to fucking settle down and behave and grow up? Fuck you. Because it's bullshit.
You're assuming that the journey is a man that starts with nothing to something, because there's a lot of men
that is exactly the journey of every man on earth. We are born without value.
Do you think
so there's specificity in that.
Can I just
because that's not how it should be for everybody, and that's not how it is for everybody, and not for every woman either as well, may I just say.
Can I ask Brittney something, please? Then you've learned in the past. Mm-hmm. And now you want to find someone to settle down. With hindsight now, would you have reversed it and started young, looking for someone to settle down with, looking for those values that now you know? I'm talking that with hindsight.
Okay, well, I actually, from 18 to 22, I was in a relationship. I've always actually been a lover girl, despite what I put out online for,
I've never
views.
seen you online.
Yeah, that's fine. Well, that's even better. I have always wanted one person, and I feel like I was so delusional in thinking that oh, I'm like you said, like I have value, I'm beautiful, I'm this, I'm at my peak. Like, why wouldn't you want to be with me? So going into these relationships or just like, just people, my goal was always to get commitment. Like I'm giving you my time, I'm pouring into you because I want commitment. And the reality is I'd never really understood my value. So I was going through guys, giving up sex, doing this, and it didn't make sense. So I believe in, like, I stand on everything I do. Like, I don't do apology tours. It is what it is. And I think that's where I feel like when they talk about women being delusional and all these other things, it is true. Because what you have to understand is that there are repercussions to your decisions, which is fine. So then you're talking about, okay, well, I want this type of guy, I want this, that, and that. You're talking about maybe monogamy. That's 3 to 5% of animals are monogamous. I think that's what it is, right? So your window is really, really small for what you're looking for. And even to go on to the point you said where you were talking about it's like a subconscious fear, I think it's like, for me, I feel like if it was more of a fear, I would have just stayed in my situation. Like, it wouldn't have made sense. Like, I mean, that was my first kid. I thought I waited and did it right. I left because I believe that there's something else on my heart when it comes to love, and I'm just going to have to trust that. And if that means being alone, having a dog, I have to take that chance because the Bentley, the ring, the house, and still getting, again, deceived, right? Disrespected, because deceit is disrespect, right? So I cannot settle for that. I can't suck a dick and shut up. And that is where a lot of people don't like my views and what I represent because it is something new. I don't know how it's going to fucking end. I don't know what's going to happen.
What would you tell your 17, if you had to, like, what would you tell your 17-year-old self, knowing what you know now? Looking back and you had to meet yourself at 17, what would you tell what would you tell yourself? Like, lock it down and wait for the right man, don't have sex. What would you tell your 17-year-old self?
That the answers aren't outside of you, because I feel like I'd always look for men to answer all of my questions that I've ever had. I thought when I had a man, it would complete me. And I feel like too, especially with like my dad not being in my life, you look for somebody to guide me. Like, so that's where for me, I put too much value in someone else having the answers for me. So that's why I'm really big on accountability. So I would just tell myself, like, to be patient, to take your time, because I was always quick. Oh, let's try to get in a relationship. Like, we weren't even compatible. There's a lot of just not compatible factors. So I feel like for me, it would be to slow down and to really get to know people instead of just blindly banking on potential that most likely will never be tapped into, or selling myself short because there's a fear of, well, I don't know, this could be the best that I could get. I might as well just shut up and suck a dick.
And that's what I meant about women nowadays, because exactly what you'd be telling your 17-year-old self is what happened back in the day. So when I'm repeating these things, I'm going, oh, you're old-fashioned. But it seems like women do what they like, and then they hit a certain age and say, oh, well, I've got to settle. But it's not settling. You're just getting whatever you can.
You know,
or whatever you deserve.
You know what?
Because
Auntie,
if you think back now, you'd be telling people now, rather than say that Auntie's old-fashioned or Auntie don't know what she's talking about, look what she'd be telling her 17-year-old self, which ain't nothing that I ain't already said.
Yeah,
because
that's fine.
really and truly,
you know what,
really and truly, let me finish. Because what I've always said, and you can check, I'm an older version of you. So where you've been, I've already been on up come back. So that's why I asked you, what would you tell your 17-year-old self? Because me telling you is, I'm telling my 30-year-old self. Do you understand where I'm coming from? So it's not that I'm old-fashioned. It's just that women hit a certain age and then realize, oh, my God, it wasn't that old-fashioned. You know, it works because it does. But there's no point in waiting till you're a certain age to start thinking about it. You know, even if you're like, you hold your own accountability. So it's like if you meet somebody and they were like 17, 18 and you saw them acting a certain way, they asked you for advice, you wouldn't say, do as I do. You say, listen, this is what happened to me. And this is what I thought. And what I recommend you do is blah, blah, blah. Am I right or am I wrong? If they ask you for your advice.
No, I totally get what you're saying. Like, I totally agree with that. I think that no matter what you decide to do, you have to accept whatever repercussions come behind that. So any advice that I give to anybody is do what you want, but just know there are repercussions, good, bad, or indifferent, that are going to come behind it. So, I mean, and I think that's just where I'm at. I don't even think it's like an age thing. I think it's like, in reality, I have a son, and you really start asking yourself questions. And again, I hate that it took having a child to really look into my life and call myself out on my bullshit.
So if you got pregnant earlier, if you got pregnant at 18, 19, would it?
I was always on birth control. Okay. I was on birth control for a decade. I got off birth.
As many of you know, I was just banned on TikTok, and we are demonetized on a daily basis on this platform. If you want to help, please consider sending a super thanks below. Every donation helps, and it helps make what we do possible.